Okay, so what I will do is I will, thanks, start with explaining how the workshop will work, because the idea of this, normally these workshops, carpentries, the software carpentry, data carpentry, are delivering in person, but also to allow people to attend from different regions of the UK or different regions of Europe. We also delivered this course in an online format to make things easier. You don't need to travel somewhere else to receive the workshop. Okay, so let me share my screen. Should be this one. What we'll do is I will share this URL, that is archer2.ac.uk/training in the chat. So if you click in that link, you will find the ARCHER2 training page with the upcoming training, course descriptions, course repositories. So you will find a lot of resources in this website. I will make it here. So if we go to upcoming training, you will find the courses that are open. You can register them. Well, a little bit, if you go a little bit down, you will find the plans that we have for future courses. So if you are interested in any of those courses, yes, please feel free to sign up. Have any questions, please feel free to contact me. There are a few courses that are always open that you can follow the course. Okay, see that let me. I see there is a comment in the chat that the sound is not working properly. Is the same for everyone, or is an issue? Not sure if it is an issue with my internet. You can let me know if the sound, not sure if the microphone. Some of you can let me know if the sound is okay or not, or please let me know in the chat. Okay, so yeah, please let me know if this is like open, but should. Yeah, checking my should be okay. Well, it should be okay. Yeah, I mean, if you are saying that it's not working properly, it's because it's not. But please let me know in the chat if this happens again, and I can try another microphone or see if it's an issue with my internet. I will close this on. Okay, so sorry. So here we have the courses, and the course that we are interested in is the data carpentry. So we will click on that. Okay, so I will share the link on the chat. And here we have the course materials. So this is the main website of the ARCHER2/Praise Data Carpentry. Here the code of conduct that this course we follow the ARCHER2 code of conduct. That what I will do is I will share that also in the chat. So this is the summary of the code of conduct. The idea is mainly you follow by the use a welcoming and inclusive language. Second one, be respectful of different viewpoints and experiences. Third one, gracefully accept constructive criticism. And the fourth one, show courtesy and respect towards others. So in a nutshell, be nice to each other. And in case that there is any issue, feel free to let me know, or you can. There is a form that you can complete. But yeah, normally, well, regarding surveys, as you see that we have we already done the pre-workshop survey, and the schedule here. Every day we start at 9:30 and we finish around 1. Sometimes we could finish before, sometimes we'll finish on time, but no later than 1 p.m. We will have always a morning break, a 30-minute morning break at 11. So, let me check. I forgot to mention. We have here a collaborative note that if we click on that link, you will find a shared path. This will be used for exercises. Let me make this a little bit bigger. For exercises and also to share some notes, links, etc. Path will be available later once that the course finishes. Also will be available this afternoon in case that you want to have a look at that. Because the content that I share in the chat in Blackboard Collaborate, they will disappear once that we leave the course. So another thing that I would like to do now is to introduce ourselves. Normally we do this like raising hand and talking, but also in order to try how this share path works, we will do the introductions using this. So the way is just write your name, the institution that you are from, and what you are doing in your research, or what is your work. Feel free to write your introduction. You can write at the same time, so it's not an issue. Forget anything. So what we can do is we can start now with the course materials. That is, we will start seeing data organization in spreadsheets. So again, I insist, feel free to ask them in the chat. If you prefer to say the question voice, please raise your hand. That's it. I think we can start. So okay, I will click here in data organization in spreadsheets. What I will do also, I will share that in the chat. Also here, you will find the title of the lesson is Data Organization in Spreadsheets for Ecologists. This is just an example, so you don't need to, I know that most of you are not ecologists, you work in biology, chemistry, physics, etc. So this is just an example to follow the lesson. It's not it will be useful for you. So the idea of this lesson is you will find during your career, doing your PhD or postdoc or finishing your MSc, if you work in a research project, you will find that a lot of times data is you can find it in what we teach of the goal of this lesson is to organize the data properly on this spreadsheet in order to work with the data later. We will see later today that we will use OpenRefine, that this is a tool for cleaning, organizing data. But tomorrow and the day after, Wednesday, we will see R, that this is a program that has many features, but mainly you get data, you can do some statistics with the data, you can plot. If the data is well organized, makes life easier for for you, the person who writes the scripts to create a plot or to do some statistics, and in the future for other research data. Last day on Thursday we will see SQL, that again we will work with the data, and the data should be well organized and clean in order to make the most of these tools. So here are the goals that we have. Not sure if the text is size is okay. If not, let me know and I can make it bigger. Good data entry practices, how to avoid common formatting mistakes. So we will see a little bit of quality control, data manipulation, spreadsheets. And once that we have our spreadsheet that is, let's say, clean or is ready, we will export it in order to work using OpenRefine, or we will see that later. We can start with the introduction. So what we will do is we will use spreadsheets to introduce data and to format the data properly for later. What this lesson will not cover is to do statistics, plot than the spreadsheet. Why? Is because now is getting more and more important to be able to reproduce the steps that you follow when you get a new data set. Imagine that you get a new data set and you remove a column, you create a new column, merging data from different columns. you remove, you are interested in a few years of the data set rather than the whole set. So you select only a few years. So all of these changes is important if you can reproduce them. If you can write a script saying, okay, I got this original data using here we see Microsoft Excel, but there are um, other tools like Open Office that I think is called Calc, or other software to work with spreadsheets. Doing that, because it's a graphical user interface, is much more difficult to write the script, because you need to say, okay, I click here. You do some research, most of the times you share your results or your findings on a paper that could be published in a conference or published on a journal. Some journals also request data set and also the script that you have used to process the data set. Also, the things with the spreadsheets that is a little bit sometimes it's not available for everyone. So using other tools that doesn't depend on some features of a spreadsheet is better, or makes things easier. Also, when you work with the different with the researchers from different institutions, because at the university you may have a Microsoft Excel and you can use it, but maybe in other institutions they use other software. You have your spreadsheet data. Normally, you have uh, you have tables. Each column means let's see, the species, sex, the weight. You find like let's say the type of data that you want to save, and also you have rows. The rows are observations of depending on, for instance, here we are talking, or the data. So each row will be an observation of an animal, a certain date, the characteristics of what is the species, the sex, weight, so the date that was collected. And it's a good practice. You can see here that this is in case that you use spreadsheets to write down what you have done in the spreadsheet in data, or to do like the first cleaning of the data. it is very important, and we will see this during the whole course, that please keep your raw data. So if you do some modifications, always make a copy and do the modifications on the copy of the data, and always keep the raw data in case that you need to access this the changes that you have done, etc. So what I will do is I will stop talking, and we will do is what we will do is an exercise. Let me check if I find the. Okay, so what I will do, stop sharing. Paste. So now we will do an exercise. You will find that is a link in the chat, that if you click on that link, you will download a spreadsheet that is not clean, it's a messy one. So the idea is we will try to find together what is wrong, or what you think that could be in the spreadsheet. So once that you download it, please open it, and we will spot what is wrong. What I will do is I will open it as well, and I will share the. I will make this a little bit bigger. So here we can see an example of a spreadsheet that actually doesn't follow quite well the. You can find that the data is a little bit disorganized, and is not. We will find later that this is not readable in case that we want to use R, SQL, OpenRefine. This is not a proper on that, because the idea of what we need to have is we have a table that we have all of the variables that could be here we have a plot, sex, weight, and these are organized in columns, and in rows we have all of these observations. Also, we have several tabs here. So please feel free to write in the chat in case that you spot something that is wrong, or you think that it could be better. Yes, feel free to write that in the chat. Also, how do you think that you can improve this spreadsheet? How do you You will use only like one table, several tables. I'll give you 5 minutes. Please, yeah, feel free to share your responses on in the chat. Okay, so there is a comment. The comment is well, there are two suggestions. Assign the species a color and put all tables together. The second one, put all tables together. Well, first, thanks. That would be a good idea to because you will notice that we have a tab for 2013, another tab for 2014. For people or for us, okay, we could understand and we can see, okay, there is we have a 2 years, one tab per year, but for a computer later, if we export the data, this will be more difficult for the computer to or any other. We can also, in this lesson, we will see R, but you can also use Python or any other programming language to process your data. It's better if everything is in the same table, because we have you notice that there is a column called date collected, that in this column includes the year, that here is 2014. Well, actually, well, here there is a net. That's the thing that, for instance, here we find that there is data that says that is from 1978, and now we are not sure if what is correct, the tab that says 2014 or the data here that says 1978. So that's the thing. For instance, in this case, we don't know exactly if which one is correct. Is the tab, is the, so the advice is to use one table for the whole for all the data. So that's a good suggestion. Regarding using a different color, using colors work for us in case that we want to spot, let's say, how many species do we have. Help, but help, let's say, for us, if when we want to spot things on the some issues with the data, but for the computer or when we export the data, the computer doesn't understand of colors, so to for us is useful. You can use them, but are not useful for the computer. For instance, you see here that said gray cell means my measurement device wasn't calibrated correctly. So when we at the end of this lesson, what we will do is we will take this spreadsheet and export to CSV file format that means comma separated values. So when you export the data from spreadsheet format to CSV, you will see that in this case, these colors, so you will not export them. So this information, if it's calibrated or not, it will be lost. And in this case, that will make more sense for the computer later to understand the data. Do you have any other suggestions? So we have so far that or that's do you have any other? Another issue is we have a spot before the date format. Here we have a 20th of January of 2014, for instance, this one. But here in this table, we have another format. The month is the beginning, the day is at the end, and in theory, this is 2014. But if you check, yeah, it's a little bit small on the screen, but you can check that actually the data says 2015. Also, with when we use we need to be very careful with the dates, because it happens that you introduce a date. Imagine you only introduce a month and day, and automatically select the year. So you should be careful with that. A recommendation that is given on the lesson is to have either one column with year, one column with month, one column with the day, either using that or use you can also use text. I mean text like a line of numbers to represent first the year, later the month, and later the day. We will see some examples later. Did you spot anything else that could be improved? Another thing, for instance, of here that I don't like is we were talking about the format of the tables, that could be the observations or the rows. Also, we have the variables that are data, but on top of the table we have the species, that in this case this table is for the DM, this one is for the O, this one is for the S. I don't like it. Why? Because when you export this data again, the species could be lost. So my recommendation here is to create a new column called below. You put if it's DM, DO, or DS. For instance, like here is this is how it's done here with the species. Also, this is a very good comment. For instance, in grams, if it's good that you specify if it's grams, kilograms, etc., but either specify that and the name of the column, you can say weight grams, for instance, or in a separated document, explain what the data is about. Like, okay, we use in this column we have in the lesson, I think we have another document that is a text document, and they are just playing the meaning of each variable. So you say the weight is in grams, sex, here we can have two values, plot is a positive number. So you can specify some characteristics of the data. So yeah, this is an error that we should avoid, like adding because for instance, have the G. Again, this is not good practice that we said that some weight could be calibrated or not. Try not to, if it's not calibrated, it's better to create a new column and not merge in the same cell different data for different results. So an error here. Where is I found it before. Here. You see we have a new, again, also plot is here, so it would be better if we create a column called plot. And here you see that you have a column that combines species and sex. This is not a good practice. If you have different variables, use different columns. Use one column for species and one column for sex. Let me check if there is other with the dates. We will see later how we can improve that. Yeah, I think that's the main things. When we later when we export that, you will see the difference of with that this is clean. The computer, other software that we will use later on will be will understand the data much better. So any questions or any comments so far? If not, I will share the lesson. You will find formatting problems, and here you will find the list that we have commented most of the issues, but we will go through in case that we have forget something. For instance, using multiple tables. This is not a good practice. Like here, you find that they use 8 tables, it's better or for data. The same with the tabs. Using multiple tabs are not a good idea. Also, here is commented that in case that something is the value is 0, you can say, okay, because this value is 0, I will the spreadsheet. This is not good because that are a blank on the spreadsheet could mean or normally means that the data is missing or the value is missing rather than the value is 0. So in case that you want to if something means or is 0, please introduce that in the spreadsheet. Don't leave it blank. That's missing or not available or anything. Also, they talk here about using problematic null values. For instance, in weight, if you remember, there were some gaps or there were some blanks there. It is in case that it's missing, if you use 0, because you don't know if 0 is actually the weight will not be the best example because weight 0 doesn't mean, okay, if we are measuring in kilograms, could be like maybe it's like less than 1, but yeah, it's not a good. So the idea here is not use numbers in case that the data is missing. Here there are like some recommendations or some options that are recommended or not, but my advice or what works best is to use to leave the cell blank. Don't introduce anything. Well, you will see if you work with other data from other resources, you may find null or NA that this could be R. They can understand that, but those is not. It's a good option, as I said here, but it's not say the best. The best is to leave the cell blank. Also here, it's not advised to use formatting to convey information. So if the measurement device is calibrated or not, using colors when you export the data, this will not go through. So it's better to have a new column called calibrated. Also use formatting. Here is the thing is if you will export the data using CSV, the formatting will be scrubbed. So you can use formatting in case that you want to identify some data or for you to make this is more readable for you, but it's not advised. For instance, the thing of merging cells, you should avoid that because when you export the data, comma separated values that will be lost or will not be a good. Also, placing comments or units in cells is not a good idea. So it's better to write everything that on a different document from Excel. And here is mentioned the field names. So what is recommended here is not to use spaces when you write for the name of the variable, and also write something descriptive. If it's a weight, you feel free to write a weight. If you write a weight, if it's a width, or if it's could mean a different thing, and it's not descriptive enough. So also here is advice, rather than spaces, use underscore to in case that you want to separate several words. Don't use special characters in data, because later will be a little bit of a mess. And then again, it's better to have it separated in another file. So here is the summary of all of the recommendations that we have seen. Not sure if there is any question or any comment. Please let me know. I hope that the audio is better. If not, this is important. Dates. Dates are a lot of times tricky when you use spreadsheet, Excel, OpenOffice, LibreOffice, because in case that you introduce only the day and month, year is a guess. So you don't have you have control, but you need to be careful with these dates. Here, what is explained is that there are different ways that you can use to save dates on your. One way is to have three different columns. That could be a day, month, and year. And here, sorry, I'm sorry, because I received a notification that my internet is not very good right now. Please let me know in case that something fails or anything. I don't know if it's because I'm sharing the application or what I can do. Yeah, maybe could be maybe the. Okay, I remember I used to use Firefox rather than Chrome, so that might the issue. Please give me 5 minutes, and I will join again and see if that I will rejoin again in case that helps. Sorry for the introduction. Hello everyone. Not sure if it's any better, the audio. Let's see if that makes a difference. Okay, so fingers crossed. Let's see if that keeps. In case that again fails, please let me know. Okay, what I wanted to do, I will share. Okay, so I guess that you can see the spreadsheet. So what is recommended is for dates. That you can have, for instance, we will work with this table here. In case that you don't have the spreadsheet open, don't worry, you can follow this. I forgot to mention that this all of these lessons are recorded, and when the course finishes, you can always check the recordings in case that you want to go through the materials again, or you have any doubts. You will always have the recordings available. So the suggestion is to have 3 different columns that are day, month, and year. And also you can use to get the, for instance, you have here the date. There are functions to get the specific day, month, or year. So if you use equal so you can use that and then click on the cell that you want to get the day. You get that the day here is 8. For instance, here is in the American format, that is first the month and then the day. So using the function day, you can get the day of a date. For month, guess that must be the same. So we can do the same. Year, select, and that's the risk of you see that here year is 2015, and in theory, according to the tab, is 2014. So that's why it's recommended not to use tabs, because you could be some mistakes with the data. You can use this format that is a day, month, of year. Also, is you can, in the documentation, you will find another format that is, to be honest, I haven't found this format yet, but maybe, I don't know, maybe in other, could be because I never worked with this, with those type of data sets. But some data sets that the date is giving us a year and day of on the year. So the day of the year will be like from 1 to 365. So to be honest, I never seen that format. That, but yeah, maybe possible in case that you work in the future. You work with a different data set. You can find that format. But actually use that format when I in case that I need to write if I need to save for file names, is to use a string. For instance, if I have 8th of January of 2015, let's say, okay, this is also another joy of date. So one way of saving the date day. I use this quite a lot for files because it's way easier to sort them by date. Also here we can spot if you remember the use of NA or not. For instance, here is blank, so we know that we don't have that. We have here NA. Okay, could be that this is missing, but also could be that NA is a given species. So that's the risk of also using NA. My recommendation is use a blank. What else? This is regarding dates. Let me check if something is. Okay, now what is explained here is to use conditional. You can use to spot before was a comment that is using color, for instance, to identify. There is a feature in Excel that is called conditional formatting that this is normally for numbers because you can spot you can easily spot numbers that could be negative, positive. We will see how to do that using this case using Excel. Let me check. Is my sound any better now, or is still cracking? Mm. Yeah, I try later. Not sure if it's an issue with my. Yeah, this is a new. Well, theory should be better because it's a new laptop, but I will. So let me check the microphone that I. Doesn't make any difference, but yeah, I may try on. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. In the break is I will have a look on. So what I will do is I will finish explain this. Let me find a good example to. Well, let's explain the condition for the weight here. If you click here in conditional formatting, you can use color scales. Also, you can see if you change, you see that the different colors that you can use. So let's say that we use the opposite if the weight, if it's like a smaller, is a more, let's say, green color. If it's a color. So using this formatting, you can at a glance easily spot if this higher. Imagine that the weight cannot be higher than 100. So here you can spot the largest weight and see if that is a mistake with the data or something like that. So for that, to spot these issues. This is also useful in case that you find the data is like lower than 0. You can also identify that, and also you can apply the same conditional formatting to this column, for instance. The thing is, what is that this is useful to read the data. Let's say for a human, so that's not like the best approach. Also, that is it is explained that you can do a data validation. And imagine that you don't want the weight that is like smaller than 0. So you can use in Excel, you have a data and you can set that. I'm not sure. Yeah, the screen is not is quite small. So here you choose the say that you allow the numbers and the data should be, you can say that there should be, for instance. So if you click on that and you specify that the data is 5, okay, it works. But if you specify -5, you get this message that said this value doesn't match the data validation restrictions defined for this cell. So you can retry and write 5. So I forgot to mention that when you do the data, you can edit the error message and say weight must be a positive number, or positive must be greater than 0. So if I put here -5, you get that you get a customized message. Weight must be greater than. So let's leave it 5. These are some features that have Excel has. Also, if you use, I think LibreOffice, OpenOffice have these features. And now, just to finish the. Well, also I haven't explained, but you can in case that you don't want to use conditional formatting, or you want to you can sort a column. using this feature of sorting. You can sort smaller to largest, the other way around, or you can filter. So there are some features in Excel that you can use to have a look at the data and validate it. Here, this is like a very small. When we have and we can do this with spreadsheet. We will see later after the break, in case that we have a big data set, to use Excel will be a little bit challenging. Imagine, because here we have, let's say that we have 20, 30 entries, but imagine that we have 1 million entries. So that would make things what we will see after the break is we will use OpenRefine, and we can use the data. We can clean the data properly. Last step, once that we are happy, well, this spreadsheet is still messy, but once that we are happy with that, we can export the data to the CSV format. We can use OpenRefine, we can use R to. So what I will do is maybe I can export. Let's export this one. So the way of exporting that is using File, Save As, and you choose here CSV command limit. Save that. Also, we get an error that this will be only will save only one tab, will not save the rest of the tabs. We click on OK, and let me stop sharing. If we open it, we can get something like the thing that I will share in my yes. So normally when we use when we save in CSV, you see that you have several values, and the thing is that are separated by commas. Now, watching that, you only a whole table and follow the pattern, and like have different columns, and for each row have an observation. Because if we open this CSV using our OpenRefine, that will not work, because we see that the first line we have the plot, and the second line we have the name of the columns. For instance, the plot, this information should be here. It should contain the plot number. Later, after the break, we will open a CSV file that is well formatted, and you will understand better why this is important, to keep only one table and the structure properly. Okay, so we are close to the break. That is at 11. So the break is 30 minutes. We'll be back. Any questions or any comments on anything, please feel free to share them in the chat. and I will answer them or I will comment them. So have a nice break and see you in 30 minutes, 11:30. Now I will try and fix my audio issues. Sorry about that. It's maybe my laptop is not behaving well this morning. Hello everyone. Hope you have a nice break. Just checking. I'm using another microphone. I close all most of the applications that I have open. I move the router as well in case that is a problem with the signal. Could you is the sound any better, or I'm not sure if what I have done makes any difference, or is it still the same bad quality as before? Okay, thanks. Yeah, seems okay also because I'm not. I think maybe the issue is when I share my screen because that will make. But yes, I mean the only change is that now it's a new laptop because previously I used to teach these courses with my previous laptop. Oops. So I don't know. Tomorrow I can try from another location, but okay. Yeah, I don't know what to. Um, okay, so sorry about that. Tomorrow, what I will do is I will try from another location and see. I did a speed test on the actually internet is probably not. I don't know if it's. I don't know. I need to check better this. Sorry about that. Okay, let's continue and hopefully tomorrow I find another solution. Not sure if it's. Let me try another. Okay, I'm trying another microphone. I don't know if it's. I will continue and see. Maybe it's the microphone because I was using the one from the webcam and I'm using another one. Let's see how it goes. Sorry again. It's annoying this. Yeah, joys of online training. Uh, anyway, let's start. So now what we will see is OpenRefine. Let me share with you the lesson in the chat. So it's the lesson that we will follow. And the idea of using OpenRefine, or the motivation of using OpenRefine, is that OpenRefine is a tool that is free for everyone. It's also open source. And this tool is designed when we have a very large data set that could not be possible to handle them using a spreadsheet like Excel or LibreOffice, OpenOffice. This tool is very useful to clean and filter data. So what we need to do is we need to download a file that is here. Give me a second. So you need to download this file, and also, well, OpenRefine doesn't need to be installed. You need to download the data, download the software, and double click on OpenRefine. If you use Linux or Mac, it could be different, but please let me know if it doesn't work. Okay, so let me share the thing. Yes, I will share my screen. So when you start OpenRefine, you see something like that. Is everyone Refine open, or any issues? Let me know in the chat if it's working or not. Yeah, let me know in the chat when you have download the file, and also when you have OpenRefine open. So to download OpenRefine, in case that, let me. Yeah, thank you, David, for sharing the. Yeah, you can download it from there. What I did, because yeah, I have a new laptop. I download the Windows kit with Java. But my previous laptop was I use Linux, and also this used to work quite good. This so we recommend the version 3.5.2. And when you double click, you get like this. I created a poll in with when you have install OpenRefine, let me know, and I can continue with the. Just curiosity, is it still the sound bad, or I'm using now another microphone? Not sure it was the microphone or you like. If you can let me know in the chat. Anyway, tomorrow I'll try another location. Okay. Yeah, it's weird. Never had this problem before, but well, that is always a first time. So I see that yeah, two people have OpenRefine working. For the rest, do you need more time to download it, or shall I continue with the? Okay, what I will do is mm, I will start the step is we have a data set that is in this case is in CSV file, but as you can see, OpenRefine can open other uh, other types of files. We have a TSV that rather than comma is the values are separated using a tab. Thing I never use. I think you can use Excel, JSON. I never use data sets with OpenRefine. But well, in case that you have you want to experiment that later, please go ahead. So okay, so we have download the data set. So the thing is, we will create a project using importing the data using that data set. So what we need is to click on choose files from this computer. So here open a desktop and the data set that we have downloaded, that is this one, that is 5 megabytes of data. So it's this name. I will copy the name on the chat in case that is useful. And when we open it, well, now we see that it's chosen that file. If we click on next, now we see that the file is open. I will make this a little bit smaller. Not sure if you have the same view, so you can have a look and see if, well, you see that you have the names of the variables on top. That is a survey ID, record ID. You see here that the date are in 3 different columns. We have a month, year, sorry, day of the year, day of the no, well, year, day, and month. I don't know why is dy a little bit. Well, we have yeah, all of these columns. So looks okay. It is recommended to click here, trim leading and trailing white spaces for strings. This is because sometimes when you introduce data, you might introduce a double space, or you might introduce a space at the end
of the species or a character. So what it does is remove the spaces. For comparison purposes, will be better. So what we need to do is check that option. Well, now the updated, the view is updated, and also we can choose the project name here on top. So we can say, don't know, I will select Edinburgh underscore project, for instance. And now if I click on create a project, I have this view. I have this data set has 35,549 rows, and we can have a look at them here. Well, we are showing a 10, but we can choose here that show 20. The thing is, as you can see, this data set is quite big, and if we use a spreadsheet, it will be a little bit challenging to work with this data set. So the next step is work with the faceting. What's that? With the faceting, what we can do is we can choose different parts of the data set. I think this is better to explain that using an example. So what we will create is a facet for a scientific name that is here. So let me check if that is so. Yes. So here in facet, I choose text facet. So when I click on that, we see that on the left-hand side of our screen, we can find the different things that we have. Also, we see here that we have 26 choices. So that means that there are 26 different scientific names in our data set. So, and also if you have a look next to the name, you will find the number of occurrences. For instance, for this scientific name, that is Amospermophilus is the best. We will find 435 occurrences. The same with the Dipodomys merriami, that we have more than 10,000. So having a quick look, we can see how the data looks like. So this is useful to know what the data is about, or to see the at a glance the different scientific names we can have. What you will find in the here, for instance, that we have two species, two scientific names that are very similar. What only changes is a typo, that there is a double I at the end rather than one I. Later, using we will see how to modify that. So now we have an exercise. I will copy the exercise in the chat. So, is using faceting, find out how many years are represented in the census, which years have the most, and list observations. And also if the column is formatted as a number, date of text, because you will find differences depending on the format. So I will give you 5 minutes with that, and when you have the answer, please write it in the chat. Thanks, David. See that what we can do is we can solve the exercise together. As the answer is correct. So what we can do is the column year, we can repeat again the same uh, procedure. We get a facet, text, and here we see that we have 26 choices. This is a sort by name, so we see that we have from 1977 up to 2002. Well, again, sort by name, but you can sort by count. So if you sort by count, you see that 1997 has 2,493 occurrences, and 1977 has the least, has 503. Also, there is another question that is a little bit more tricky, is the column formatted as a number, date of text. By default, all columns are formatted as text. So if we want to change it and use, for instance, numbers for years, you need to click again here on the column name, and is edit. You go to edit cells, and you go to common transforms. For this is the option that we marked before at the beginning of importing the dataset. That is trim leading and trailing white space. But you have several transformations. What we will use here is to transform to a number. So if we click here, well, we get a message that said text transform more than 35,000. And you see, not sure if it's, you can see that in the screen, that the color, the year, now the color of the values are green rather than that's to show that, yeah, it's a number. So now also you can use in this case you can use a numeric facet. If you use numbers, that here you see a histogram, and you can see the currencies in a histogram view. Also, you can select. For instance, I interested in the data from 1990 up to 2003. Also, you see that on the top change rather than 80,000 matching rows. So these facets are mainly to choose. Can also use to choose different values. Here you can choose a range, or here, for instance, you can. If we use the year, the text facet, you can say, okay, I'm interested in 1982. So you can select that, and you can see what the almost 2000 matching. You can also exclude, say, okay, I want all numbers except 1982. That didn't work because we setting. Because or maybe works. Well, here also you can get the view as a tab separated values in case that you want to copy somewhere else. If you click here on 26 choices. And also if you see on the top, you see that you have a tab that is a facet filter, but also we have this undo redo. Here we will see while we work with this data set, all the steps that we do, all the modifications are listed here in this part. So the first, well, step 0 is create a project. But the step 1 is we have done a text transfer. All of these cells in column year is a value to we have applied value to number. So in cases that have the same format, what we can do is we can save the steps that we have followed, and then we can apply them to all of these data sets. And also, in case that we are not happy with we have seen that maybe year as a number maybe is not as useful as we thought, we can undo that thing. If we click here in 0, this year is not any longer a number, and we can keep working on that. So that's the good thing, that you can, if you do something and you are not happy with the change, you can always go back. Also, you see that because it's no longer a number, this numeric facet is not working longer. We cannot see the. Also, we can minimize the facets or keep them open, so we can do have a lot of features. We were talking before about clustering. If we open a scientific name, we see that, for instance, here there is a typo. So we can identify that having a look at the data of these scientific names, but also we can do this automatically. So the way to do that is we can click if we want to the scientific name. We want to do clusters of this data. We can click here on this button in cluster. So we have different methods and different keying functions. And depending on the method that we use, we can have different clusters. So my advice, or the general advice here, is trying different methods, trying different keying functions, and choose the one that you are happy with. Do merge. In that way, you clean the data. So according to the documentation, we will follow the same sample. They use a method key collision, and the keying function they use a method for 3. So if we use that, we can see that there are for 2 different scientific names, we can do some clustering. We found that the first, the Amphispizza bilineata, or whatever is pronounced that scientific name, we found that there are 291 rows with the same name, but we have 7 rows that have a slightly different name, but it's very similar. It's likely that it's a typo when we introduce the scientific value, or well, rather than us, when the researcher that worked with that, created that data set, did that. So what we can do is, if we are happy with that, we can click on merge and choose the new value that will be this one, and also the same with this values. So what we can do is we can click on merge selected and recluster. So if we do that, well, they said that no clusters were found with this selecting method. Now we can try different methods and see. But yeah, seems that this one was good enough. So what we can do is go and close. And now you can see that rather than 26 choices, we have 20 choices. So the scientific name, the number of choices have been reduced. And also we go to that column, tells you the mass edit, that a total of 739 cells were edited in the column scientific name. You can do this also with different, well, in this case, maybe it's not, but in other data sets, imagine that you have cities, or you have any other values. Is a good approach to do that. Just in one step, we have our data more clean. Also, if this is regarding clustering, not sure if there are any questions regarding that. If so, let me know in the chat. You may notice that the scientific name has two parts. So what we can do is we can split that if we want or we find it convenient. We can split that column into two new ones. So how can we do that? If we click on scientific name, we go to edit column, and you can split into several columns. So you need to select here the separator, that in our case is a space, it's not a comma. And also you can, well, guess a cell type or remove this column. In our case, we don't want to remove the column, so we will untick that. Yeah, just go click OK, and let's see how. So we see that we have now our column. So we have two new ones. We have, well, it's called scientific name 1 and scientific name 2. And also you can choose, you can change in case that well, this is like an 1 and 2, but you can choose into different. You can change the name of the column, so you can rename this column and choose, for instance, okay, if we choose a species, we will get an error saying that another column already named a species. So here you can choose another name. Rename, you can say, for instance, species name, and you can get this rename. And again, you can go here to you can see the steps that we have done so far. So we have edit 739 cells in order to fix typos with the scientific name. Once that we do that, we have split um, all of these cells in column scientific name into several columns. And we have renamed the column scientific name to species name. You may wonder why is 20,000 rather than 35,000. This is because I imagine that some scientific names are blank, so that's why it's not. Are these blank names, of course, are not split. So I think that's why is the difference of numbers here. Any questions so far? If not, we can continue working with the data set. Okay, so let's move on. So what we can do, for instance, if we are not happy with the split, if we see that, well, okay, we thought maybe it's not useful, we can undo this. If we move to step 1, you see that these two columns have disappeared, and we can keep working with that. You may notice that also the way of working for OpenRefine is that you have raw data and you do the modifications. And once that you are happy with the modifications, you can do. We will see that at the end of this lesson. You can save the export the results and save them in a new file. But the raw data file will not be modified ever. We will always keep the raw data in case that we need to check things later. So what we can do is we can also we can short the data. We can, for instance, short by don't know. We can short by plot for if we want. So the way of shorting is we can click on the column name and we click on short, and we can choose how would we want to treat the data, if it's text, numbers, smaller first, larger first. And also here is important, when we sort, we have valid values, we have errors and blanks. Errors, I guess that is maybe when the cell is not a number, so it will appear as an error, and blanks are at the end. In case that we're interested in see the blanks that we have, we can move them at the beginning. Or if if we are interested in see the errors, or we can play with that. So if we execute this, well, we see that in this case we are lucky that plot the column plot don't contain blanks, so all of numbers are okay. And we see that well, now we have the plot. The first one is number 1, and we can have if we show 100. Yeah, number 1 have like quite a lot. Also, if you're interested again in checking how many different plots we have, we can use a facet text facet. We see exactly that for 1 we have a 1995 entries. I'm showing only 100, so yes, we'll see only 1. Once that we are not interested in any longer in the facet, I close it and that's it, gone. There is an exercise here that is we can. So if we are not interested any longer in, you can choose because this is short. If we don't want any longer this sorting, we can remove the short. You see that now it's gone. Now a plot have different numbers. The exercise here, because also we can sort using multiple columns. So the exercise here is to sort by date. if you see the date is in 3 different columns, year, month, and day. So we need to sort all of these columns. I'll give you 5 minutes to play around with this, and once that you are done with the exercise, let me know, and I can continue and I can explain how to sort this properly using several columns. The idea is you need to go column by column. So you need to select the one column, short, then select the next one, short, and so on. Also need to be careful about the order. That is not the same if you start with one column and you start with the other one. Okay, so I'll give 5 minutes and we can continue. Okay, so let's solve the exercise together. I see that in the chat there was a question regarding the clustering. Sorry, just seeing that now I will answer it after we solve this exercise. So the idea is okay, we want to sort by date. So first we will need to sort by year, then by month, and then by day. So if we sort by year, we click sort, numbers smaller first, okay. So we see that now the first year is 1977. Fair enough. We continue with month and we click on sort again. And also you will find here a new okay, we will sort by numbers, smaller first, but here you will find a new element that is sort by this column alone. We don't want to do that. We want to sort also based on the previous sorting that was a year. So no need to click at this column. Sorry, this column. This you don't need to check this. Click OK. And now by day. So again, we sort. Choose the column day. Numbers smaller first. And we click on OK. So now we see that the dates are sorted by number by date. So we have on the top we have a 16th of July of 77. Have 17, 18. Sorry, yeah, 18th of July 77. If my math doesn't fail, it should be like a 55 years ago. So yeah, a long time. No, yeah, yeah, I don't know. Okay, so this is regarding sorting, and also there is a question in the chat that is how do you exclude a choice that doesn't need to be in the new cluster? So let's have a look at that. What we can do is we can do the clustering again. So we use a key collision method for 3. And here you have the selection. So imagine that this option is okay. Actually, you don't need to. So you can think if you can exclude this one and get this 4. Not sure if this is like a related. No, it already appears. And yeah, so you see that you need to click on exclude, and now you find these 4 options rather than the 5th one that we already. So we can merge, selecting and recluster, and also we can see the changes that we have here, 300, and when this one are gone. So this is the way now to can do a cluster again. Method 4. Well, still find this one, but for instance, we don't check this one, so we check this and click in merge selected and recluster. And again, we find this difference, but we spot that actually is valid, let's say. So we close and we don't. So in this case here now we have 21 choices rather than 20. So we have seen faceting, have seen clustering. Also, we have seen sorting, that in this case we have sorted by date. If you see here in we have the changes of the clustering, but when we sort the data, what we do is we change the view of the rather than sorting the elements on the raw file. Okay, what else? So we have seen for faceting, we have seen the text one and numeric one. There is another one that is scatter plot that I remember in my previous machine with the Linux. This option didn't work. I think, well, in this machine with Windows it works. But yeah, it depends. Sometimes could work. It depends also on I guess, on the Java version or the operating system, the version that you're using. So you may find that for some things that you can do with OpenRefine, they could fail, but normally it's not the case. Anyway, let's continue. Well, before using a scatterplot facet, we need to convert 2 columns to numbers. So what we can do is we can choose period and record ID. So record ID, we can edit cells, common transfer to number. So you see that rather than be aligned, the numbers on the left-hand side now are aligned to the right-hand side, and they are green rather than black. And period. Okay, so we'll go period, edit cells, no, edit columns. No, sorry, edit cells, common transforms to number. Okay, so we have record ID and period in, and also as I mentioned before, we can use here numeric facet in on the period. And we can use now the scatter plot. So here is if we click a facet, scatter plot facet, we see here this axis we see the period, and in this axis we see the record ID. So since that the record ID, the ID was increasing with a period of, yeah, maybe this is not the best. We can find other samples or other data sets that the scatter plot matrix will give us better insight on the data. This is just to show you that this is possible. I'm curious because it seems that there are some negative values in period, so maybe this is somewhat a mistake or something that could be refined with the data. Okay, so these are regarding facets that we have. And once that we are happy with the data, we can see the steps. So the steps is, okay, we create a project. We have edit all of these names. Also, we have a transfer to number the column record ID, the column period. So once that we are happy with that, we can do, if we click in extract, here we get the steps that we have followed written in a JSON format. This format is will be helpful when we want to imagine that we have several data sets that are similar. They have the similar structure. So we can save that and we can apply the same changes for all the data sets. And also when you share this in case that you upload the data set to Zenodo, in case that you want to share the data set with someone else, you can send the raw data, and also you can send this file saying, okay, this is the raw data and this is the changes that I have done for this data. And in case that you don't want to export the changes to numbers, you can remove data from here, and you can keep only the changes with the names, with the scientific name typos. Let's see if there is a. Okay, the way of is like you need to Control A, so you select all the text, you copy this text and save in a. You can save it in a notepad, for instance. So if you open Notepad, yeah, you will not see that in the screen. You can save that has changes, for instance. Oops, I don't know if I save that in the. No, need to change it in desktop. Okay. So if I open. Let me share. So you see that the changes are here in this notepad. So I can share the raw data set and also the changes that. So imagine that, okay, let's say I get rid of all of these changes and I want to apply some of them. So what I do is, oh, sorry, I'm sharing the wrong window. is this the one? Okay. Imagine that you receive both the raw data set and you receive the steps in a separate file, and you want to apply the steps. So what you do here is if you click on apply, you have a window where you can paste the JSON history of the operations that the contents of the text file that you have received. So let me open these changes through C. I paste here, and if I click now in perform operations, you see that we did a mass edit of 300 cells and a mass edit of 437 cells. We have 21 choices. Also close this. So here you see the separation between raw data and the steps that I have done with this data. There are two more steps to before we finish the lesson. Is to save the data. I mean, we can export the data to once that we are happy how it looks like. We can export to a comma separated value file, and also we can save the project. What I have explained here about having raw data and having this script is now is getting more and more important to make a reproducible science. That means that you do something to this data set, you investigate something, and another person having the same data set and having the same tools should be able to repeat the same steps that you have done before. This is important to allow other researchers to check, imagine check results or do further improvements. This is important when you publish a paper to make available, if possible, data set and also the steps that you have followed in order to clean it. And also, it's important in case that normally projects are several years long. In case that someone else joins the project, will be easier if have these scripts already available. Or in case that you, for some reason, you leave the project, the next person that continues with the project can be is able to continue with that, having this script. So it's a way to keep things sorted and keep things reproducible for the future. So to save the project, you can, if you click on the top of the window, you have a export, and you can either save the OpenRefine project archive to a file. So you can choose. Well, in this case, you download this. You see that at the bottom of my screen there is a compressed file with all of the project elements, and you can open it and you see the several documents where you see the changes, history. You see all of the things that are related with the project, and this is in case that we want to save the project. But in case that we want to export the data to a clean data to a CSV file, we can do export and choose a comma separate value. Also, you can choose a tab separate value, Excel. You have a different ways of, but here what we will use is a comma separated value. And again, it's a save here. I think this is a save in my downloads folder. This file, Edinburgh project. And also, this file could be used in case that we want to use R, or again, if in case that we want to use OpenRefine, we can open this new file rather than the raw one. So you have all of these options in order that would you want to export the data or you want to save the project. Before I finish, let me share with you. I think I can use the same window that I'm sharing. In case that you like this tool, you have here all of these resources that the website, the user manual. There are also some blog posts, articles about this tool, OpenRefine. And I recommend you, to have a look at them. And also, maybe you don't need to use this tool right now, but it's good to know that this tool exists, in case that in the future you find a data set that is not clean enough, or you want to do some bulk modifications. I recommend you to use OpenRefine. So yeah, that's I don't know. You have any questions, any comments regarding? Let me check the chat in case that there is something. Yeah, in case that there is any question that I didn't answer, or because switching between browsers, maybe I lost the question, or well, the chart is not kept in the memory. So there is a question that is, can I save just one facet of the data? I think so. Let's try that. That's the best way of. So let's say, okay, I want to save just this one, 437 matching rows. Now that's a good question. Not sure how to, because don't know the option. Okay, here you can change invert. Well, we can try and see if that, but I'm not sure if that will work. Yeah, we have this new project, but let me check if the size is. Yeah, that's a good. Yes, it works. Seems that it works. If we open the yeah, the original data set is 5 megabytes, 5.5 megabytes, and the new one is 172 kilobytes. So if let me switch I open this data set using oops, let me make this smaller. So you see that this column, the scientific name column, is same. So yeah, it works. You select the facet and then you need to click and export. That's a good question. And also here you can see how a table should look like. You see that this is like the first row is the name of the columns, and for each entry we have a record ID month. So you see that, for instance, this table looks way better than the table that we had a look before the break. So yeah, thanks for the question. That was interesting. In case that you have any other questions this afternoon or late, please feel free to contact me. I will write my email address. So this is my email address, so feel free to send me a message with the questions that you may have. For tomorrow, it's very important that you follow the installation steps and you install RStudio. Again, in case that you have any issues this afternoon installing RStudio, let me know, send me a message, and we can sort it out. If there are no more questions, I think we can go now for lunch. Yeah, finish a little bit earlier, and tomorrow we can meet at 9:30. Apologies for the audio issues. I will try to get either a Ethernet cable this afternoon, long enough to reach the router, or maybe work from another location. Anyway, I'll try to improve this system. I never had this issue before, but you never know. There is always new things. Thanks again, and enjoy the rest of the day. And speak to you tomorrow at 9:30. Bye for now.